The drywall dust in my lungs tastes like the last 21 years of my life, gritty, persistent, and impossible to wash away completely. I'm Rob Hayes, 45 years old, and I've built my existence one calloused handshake at a time. My truck's dashboard clock glows 6:47 p.m. as I navigate the familiar streets home, NPR droning about interest rates while my mind catalogs tomorrow's site inspections. Friday evening. The promise of 2 days without alarm clocks and safety meetings stretches ahead like a gift I've earned through sweat. My hands grip the steering wheel, and I catch sight of them in the passing streetlight, scarred, weathered. The wedding ring embedded so deep in the flesh it's become part of my anatomy. These hands have framed houses, poured foundations, and held my wife Michelle through labor pains twice. They've signed mortgage papers, assembled bicycles on Christmas Eve, and applauded at countless volleyball games. Working hands, providing hands. Michelle was 23 when we met, a college dropout slinging coffee at Murphy's Diner off Route 47. I was 24, ambitious despite the concrete dust in my hair, talking big about someday running my own crew. She laughed at my jokes, remembered how I took my eggs, and had this way of tucking her hair behind her ear when she was thinking. 6 months later, I proposed with a ring that cost me 3 months of overtime. She said yes before I finished asking. We built our life methodically, like laying foundation blocks. First came the wedding, small, her father drunk crying during his toast about his little girl. Then Tyler arrived when Michelle was 24, screaming and perfect, turning us from a couple into something more permanent than any construction I'd ever managed. Sophie followed 4 years later, born during a February blizzard that knocked out power to half the county. Michelle hemorrhaged badly that time. I remember gripping her hand in that hospital room, both of us crying, promising each other we'd never take a single day for granted. She wanted to stay home with the kids. Just until they're in school, she'd said. But school came and went, and Michelle found reasons to remain. PTA president, room mother, soccer team coordinator. I picked up extra shifts, worked Saturdays, bid on bigger projects. My back started aching at 35. By 40, I needed reading glasses to review blueprints. But my family had everything they needed. That was the trade-off, and I made it willingly. Our house sits on Maple Street, a 1960s ranch I've renovated room by room over 15 years. Nothing fancy but solid bones. The kitchen cabinets I installed myself, spending 3 weeks of vacation getting the crown molding just right. Sophie's volleyball trophies line the mantel like golden soldiers. Regionals, states, MVP awards. Tyler's community college acceptance letter holds pride of place on the refrigerator, held by a magnet from our last family vacation to the Outer Banks 3 years ago. The master bedroom hasn't seen much action lately. When did we stop trying? 2 years ago? 3? Intimacy became another chore scheduled around exhaustion and teenagers' schedules. But that's marriage after 2 decades, isn't it? You trade passion for partnership, heat for warmth, adventure for stability. We're teammates now, co-managers of a small domestic corporation. We know each other's prescriptions, password hints, and coffee orders. That's intimacy too, I tell myself. The mundane kind that actually matters. Michelle's parents took the kids this weekend, some church retreat thing her mother organized. Tyler's 20, Sophie 16, both old enough to stay alone, but Michelle's mother insists on these forced family bonding experiences. Fine by me. The thought of ordering pizza? Maybe watching that action movie Michelle always vetoes. Spreading out on the couch without Sophie complaining about my snoring. It's a small pleasure I've been anticipating all week. The sun's setting as I turn onto our street, painting the suburban landscape in shades of fool's gold. Michelle's Corolla sits in the driveway, silver paint dulled by winter road salt I keep meaning to wash off. The living room lights are on, casting yellow rectangles onto the front lawn I'll need to mow soon. Everything looks exactly as it should, exactly as it has for thousands of evenings before this one. But something feels wrong. I can't name it. Maybe it's the way the curtains are drawn despite the nice evening. Maybe it's that Michelle's car is parked crooked like she was distracted. Or maybe after 21 years, you develop a sixth sense for when your life is about to implode. My work boots thud against the front steps. Concrete dust falling like ash from the treads. I turn the doorknob, unlocked, unusual, and step into the home I've maintained with these battered hands. Michelle sits at our kitchen table, the one we bought at an estate sale our first year married. Her hands are folded like she's praying, but her face holds that unnatural composure I've only seen twice before, when she told me her father had cancer, and when she miscarried between Tyler and Sophie. "We need to talk," she said. My stomach drops through the floor I refinished last summer, and I know with absolute certainty that the next 10 minutes are going to destroy everything I thought I'd built. I lower myself into the chair across from Michelle, my joints protesting after 10 hours on site. The kitchen still smells faintly of this morning's coffee, but something else hangs in the air, the antiseptic scent of rehearsed words about to be deployed. "Rob," she began, saying my name like it's a foreign word she's practicing. I've been thinking about this for a long time. "Thinking about what?" I asked. But I already know. Some primitive part of my brain has been screaming warnings I've been too exhausted to hear. Us. This life. "Everything," she answered. Her hands unfold, gesture vaguely at our kitchen, the backsplash I installed, the dishwasher I repaired last month. "I'm suffocating, suffocating." I repeat the word, tasting its absurdity. "In the life you wanted? The house you picked? With the kids you wanted to stay home for? That's not fair," she started. "Fair?" My voice cracks. "You want to talk about fair? I've worked 60-hour weeks for 15 years. My knees are shot. My back's held together with ibuprofen and stubbornness. Every overtime hour, every weekend job, every vacation day spent fixing this house, all so you could have what you wanted." "I know," she replied, looking past me, at something I can't see. "And I'm grateful, but... Gratitude isn't love, Rob," she said quietly. The words hang between us like a blade. I want to argue, to remind her of our wedding vows, of Tyler's first steps in this very kitchen, of Sophie's 16th birthday last month, where Michelle cried happy tears. But her eyes are already gone, focused on some distant shore I can't reach. "There's someone else," she announced. The blade drops. "Derek," she continued, saying it like a prayer, and her whole face transforms. 20 years vanish from her features. "His name is Derek Murphy. Murphy. I know that name. Owner of Murphy Marketing Group, those pretentious billboards all over town, drives a white Mercedes. Lives in Westfield Heights, where the houses have circular driveways and homeowners associations that fine you for the wrong shade of beige." "How long?" I managed to ask. 6 months, she admitted. 6 months, while I was installing her new closet organizer, while we celebrated Tyler's acceptance letter, while Sophie won states and Michelle hugged me in the bleachers. "You're sleeping with him," I stated, not a question. "It's not just intimacy," she insisted, leaning forward, eager to make me understand. "He sees me, Rob. Really sees me. He takes me to gallery openings, wine tastings. We talk about books, travel, art. He has a beautiful house with a pool, a view of the lake. He summers in Italy. He makes me feel..." She searches for the word. "Alive. And I make you feel what? Dead?" I asked. "Not dead. Just..." She looks around our kitchen with barely concealed disgust. "Not this. Not this." 2 words that erase 21 years. Not this modest house I've maintained with my broken body. Not this life we built together. Not this family we created. "It's not cheating when the marriage was already dead," she declared. The statement is so breathtakingly cruel, so perfectly rehearsed, that I actually laugh. A harsh bark that makes her flinch. "Dead. Was it dead when you insisted on that anniversary dinner last month? When you held my hand at Sophie's game last week? When you kissed me goodbye this morning?" I challenged. "I was trying..." she attempted. "You were lying," I cut her off. I stand, the chair scraping against linoleum. 6 months, Michelle. 6 months of looking me in the eye every morning, sleeping beside me every night, letting me believe we were still us while you were planning your escape with some asshole who drives a Mercedes. "I want a divorce," she announced quickly, like ripping off a bandage. "I'm moving in with Derek tonight." "Tonight," I repeated. Another laugh more bitter than the first. "You've got it all planned out." "My lawyer will contact you," she started. "Get out," I ordered. "Rob, we need to discuss..." She tried. "Get out," I roared. She stands, suddenly small in our kitchen. "I'll need to pack," she said hesitantly. You have 10 minutes, I told her flatly. She disappears down the hallway. I hear drawers opening, hangers clattering, the wheeze of suitcase zippers. 10 minutes becomes 20. I don't move from the kitchen, don't help, don't hinder. I just stand there, a statue made of drywall dust and disbelief. She emerges with 2 suitcases and a garment bag. Designer luggage I don't remember buying. Her face is flushed but determined, like she's the victim here, like I'm the one making this difficult. We need to talk about the kids, she began. No, I interrupted. The word comes out flat, final. You want to leave? Leave. But you'll tell them yourself why Mommy decided their father wasn't good enough, why our life wasn't sufficient, why Derek Murphy's pool matters more than their family. That's not, I love my children, she protested. You love yourself more, I stated. She opens her mouth, closes it. For a moment, I see the Michelle I married, uncertain, young, a little lost. Then it's gone, replaced by this stranger who sees my life's work as not this. The door closes with a soft click. No dramatic slam, no tears, no last-minute change of heart. Just the sound of 21 years ending on a Friday night in February, leaving me alone in a house that suddenly feels like a crime scene. I stand in my work boots, concrete dust still clinging to the steel toes. In the kitchen I renovated with these hands she found so inadequate. The refrigerator hums. The clock ticks. Somewhere in Westfield Heights, Derek Murphy is about to inherit my family's destroyer. I realize with crystalline clarity, Michelle didn't just leave me. She left all 3 of us. And tomorrow morning, I have to pick up my children and explain how their mother chose a beautiful house with a pool over everything we built together. The drive to Michelle's parents' house Saturday morning feels like heading to a funeral where I'm both the mourner and the one who has to deliver the eulogy. Tyler and Sophie pile into the truck. Sophie complaining about missing her friend's pool party, Tyler absorbed in his phone. Normal teenage Saturday irritations. They have no idea their world ended 12 hours ago. Why'd Mom not come? Sophie asked, buckling her seatbelt. I wait until we're on the highway, away from their grandparents' house, away from anywhere they might run. Your mother moved out last night, I announced. Tyler's head snaps up from his phone. What? He said sharply. She's having an affair. Has been for 6 months. She's leaving us for someone named Derek Murphy, I explained. That's messed up, Tyler responded, then caught himself. Sorry. No, I told him. That's exactly what it is. Sophie's crying in the back seat, quiet tears that break my heart more than wailing would. Through the rearview mirror, I watch her process the destruction of her universe. Does she still love us? She asked. Her voice is small, 6 years old again. This isn't about you and Tyler. This is about her and... I can't finish. How do you explain to your 16-year-old daughter that her mother found you insufficient? That your love, your life, your family wasn't enough? Derek Murphy, Tyler said. He's Googling already. Marketing guy. Big house in Westfield Heights. He turns his phone towards Sophie. Looks like a douche. Tyler, I started. What? He does. Boat shoes and everything? He replied. The first week is chaos compressed into slow motion. Michelle calls Tuesday, her voice artificially bright. Hi, sweetie, she said when Sophie answers. How was school? Sophie put her on speaker, looking at me for guidance. I shrug. Her mother, her choice. Fine, Sophie answered, her voice flat. I have a game Thursday. Oh, that's wonderful. I'll try to... Michelle began enthusiastically. Don't, Sophie interrupted. Don't say you'll come if you won't. Sophie, I want to be there, but Derek has... Her mother tried to explain. Sophie hangs up. Michelle doesn't come to the game. Sophie scores the winning point anyway, scanning the bleachers for a face that isn't there. I take photos, send them to Michelle's number. Read receipts show she sees them. No response. 2 weeks pass. Michelle's calls drop to once a week, then every 10 days. They last 3 minutes, maybe 5. She doesn't ask about Tyler's physics project or Sophie's boyfriend drama. She speaks in platitudes. Focus on school. Listen to your father. I love you. Empty words from an empty person. Tyler stops answering her calls entirely. I've got nothing to say to her, he told me, deleting her voicemail without listening. Sophie tries longer, desperate to salvage something. but each call leaves her angrier. She asked if I was eating enough, Sophie reported to me after one particularly brief conversation. Not about my game, not about my friends, not about the history test I was stressed about. Just if I was eating, like I'm a houseplant she forgot to water. Tyler's community college graduation is in May. In March, Michelle doesn't call, texts that she'll definitely be there. April. Derek planned a surprise trip to Spain that week, but I'll try to reschedule. May, 3 days before. I'm so sorry, but I can't make it. Send pictures. Tyler reads the message and laughs, but it's the kind of laugh that comes when the alternative is violence. Send pictures, he repeated, of my graduation, that she's missing, for Spain. He deletes her contact from his phone that night. I watch him do it. This boy forced to become a man because his mother chose tapas over his achievement. I become both parents out of necessity. I learn Sophie's pregame ritual, specific hair elastics, lucky socks, a protein bar exactly 45 minutes before. I master Tyler's preferred study snacks, discover he focuses better with death metal playing softly. I attend every parent-teacher conference, every booster club meeting, every college planning session. The divorce proceeds like Michelle's driving, fast and reckless, focused only on her destination. Margaret Bennett, my attorney, sits across from me in disbelief. She's not asking for custody? At all? Margaret asked. She wants to be free to travel with Derek, I explained, quoting Michelle's lawyer. The children would complicate that. The children, Margaret repeated in disbelief. That's how she refers to them? When she refers to them at all, I confirmed. Michelle doesn't contest anything. Not the house she called insufficient, not the retirement accounts she helped build, not the custody of the humans she created. She wants a clean break, a fresh start, a new life unencumbered by the old one's debris. She doesn't even come to the final court date. Her lawyer appears alone, authorized to sign everything. The judge, a grandmother herself, looks disgusted. Mr. Hayes, she announced, you have full custody, the family home, and primary assets. Mrs. Hayes receives her personal belongings and a settlement of $30,000. $30,000. The price of 21 years. 4 years pass. I mark them not in calendar pages, but in achievements Michelle misses. Tyler's transfer to engineering school. His dean's list honors. His acceptance to the internship program. Sophie's scholarship offers. Her team captain selection. Her first heartbreak, sobbing in my arms about some boy named Ethan who doesn't deserve her tears. I date occasionally. A teacher named Karen who understands my caution. We take it slow, building something real on foundation I know is solid this time. The kids thrive despite the mother-shaped hole in their lives. Or maybe because of it. They learn early that love isn't words or promises or good intentions. Love is showing up. Love is presence. Love is choosing to stay when leaving would be easier. Tuesday afternoon, late September, I come home to find Sophie's car in the driveway. Strange, she has class until 4. I push through the front door, calling her name. In here, Dad, she called back. She's in the living room, and she's not alone. Michelle sits on my couch, our old couch, the one she found not this, looking like a sketch of herself drawn from memory. Thinner, older, with the kind of aggressive blonde highlights that scream midlife crisis. Designer clothes that don't quite fit, like she's wearing a costume of success. Everything I've built in 4 years, the peace, the healing, the new normal, threatens to crumble at the sight of her. What the hell are you doing in my house? I demanded. Sophie let me in, Michelle explained. Her voice wavers, stripped of the confidence that carried her out our door 4 years ago. I called her, begged her to let me explain. I look at Sophie, who shrugs with studied indifference. She said 5 minutes. I was curious, my daughter told me. Curious, I repeated, tasting the word, finding it bitter. Get out, Michelle. Please, Rob, just let me, she pleaded. You've got 5 minutes, I interrupted. I remained standing, arms crossed, work boots planted on floors she'll never walk on again after today. Starting now. Michelle draws a shaky breath, and I notice her hands trembling. The manicure is chipped. The designer bag beside her has a worn corner. The facade is cracking. Derek wasn't who I thought he was, she began. She laughs, but it's hollow, broken. The gallery opening stopped after 6 months. The wine tastings became him drinking alone. The culture, the travel, it was all performance. Control. Control? I questioned. He monitored my phone, tracked my car, accused me of cheating. She catches herself, realizes the irony. He was jealous, paranoid. Said I'd leave him like I left you. Smart man, I think, but don't say. He started grabbing me, hard. Leaving bruises where they wouldn't show, she continued. She rolls up her sleeve, revealing faded marks on her upper arm. Then shoving during arguments. Then she touches her eye unconsciously. I covered it with makeup for 2 weeks. Part of me, a small, vengeful part, wants to say she deserved it. But I'm not that man. Nobody deserves that. Why didn't you leave? I asked. Where would I go? She replied. Her laugh is bitter. I'd burned every bridge. My parents barely speak to me. My friends, our friends, they all chose you. Deservedly. So you stayed, I stated. For 3.5 years. Until 3 months ago, she answered. Her voice drops. He met someone at his gym, Brittany, 26, yoga instructor, everything I was when he met me, but younger, newer. The parallel is so perfect it's almost poetic. He told me I was getting old, that I wasn't exciting anymore, that he'd elevated me from my previous life. She gestures at my living room with disgusted recognition, and I should be grateful for the time he gave me. Then he kicked you out? I asked. 2 suitcases, same ones I left here with, except this time I had nowhere to go, she confirmed. And now you're here, I stated the obvious, waiting for the real reason. She meets my eyes for the first time since I found her on my couch. I want a second chance, she declared. The words hang in the air like a bad smell. A second chance, I repeated slowly, tasting each syllable. At what exactly? Being a mother, being part of this family, making things right, she answered. Where the hell have you been for 4 years? I roared. My outburst brings Tyler running down the stairs. He stops dead seeing his mother. Are you kidding me? He said, looking between us. She's here? Tyler, please, Michelle started. No, he cut her off. His voice is ice. You don't get to please me. You missed my graduation. My dean's list ceremony. Every birthday. Every holiday. Every single thing that mattered. I know, and I'm so sorry, she tried. Sorry? Sophie interjected, standing up. Tears streamed down her face. You're sorry? You called us maybe once a month. You forgot my 17th birthday entirely. You promised to come to States and didn't show. You chose Spain over Tyler's graduation. That was Derek's, Michelle attempted. That was your choice. Sophie screamed. Every missed call, every broken promise, every single time you picked him over us, those were your choices. Michelle crumbles, sobbing. 4 years ago, I'd have comforted her. Now I just watch, feeling nothing but cold satisfaction. Please, she whispered. I made mistakes. Mistakes? Tyler challenged. Forgetting milk is a mistake. Cheating on Dad, abandoning your family, disappearing for 4 years, those aren't mistakes. They're choices. Deliberate, calculated choices. I have nowhere else to go, Michelle said, playing her last card, the sympathy plea. That's not our problem, I replied. I'm surprised by how steady my voice is. You made your choice when you decided we weren't enough. When you chose Derek's pool over Sophie's games. When you chose Spain over Tyler's graduation. When you chose yourself over everyone who loved you. Rob, please. We were married for 21 years, she begged. Were. Past tense, I corrected her. You ended that marriage for a man who just replaced you with a younger model. Ironic, isn't it? You left me for being inadequate, boring, not this. And he left you for the exact same reasons. She flinches like I've slapped her. Get out, Tyler ordered. Don't call, don't write, don't show up. We don't need you. We haven't needed you for 4 years, Sophie. Michelle looks desperately at our daughter. Sweetie? Sophie wipes her tears. Stands straighter. I used to dream about you coming back. For 2 years, I prayed you'd walk through that door. But you know what? Dad showed up. Every game, every practice, every heartbreak, every triumph. He learned to French braid my hair for games. He held me when Ethan broke my heart. He's been more of a mother than you ever were, she declared. Leave, I said quietly. And don't come back, ever. Michelle stands on shaking legs, looking between the 3 of us. We stand united, a family forged in the fire of her abandonment, stronger in our scars than we ever were whole. I loved you all, she whispered. No, I corrected her. You love the idea of us, the safety net, the backup plan. But love is staying when it's hard. Love is showing up when you're tired. Love is choosing your family over yourself every single day. You don't know what love is. She walks to the door, each step seemingly painful. At the threshold, she turns back, maybe hoping for a last-minute reprieve, a crack in our resolve. There is none. The door closes behind her with the same soft click as 4 years ago. But this time it's final. This time we're the ones choosing. Tyler and Sophie collapse into me, and we stand there, holding each other in the living room of the house Michelle found so insufficient. Did we do the right thing? Sophie asked into my chest. We did the only thing, I answered. We chose ourselves. And for the first time in 4 years, that feels like enough, more than enough. It feels like everything. The silence after Michelle leaves is different from 4 years ago. Then, it was the silence of shock, of a world suddenly unmade. Now it's the silence of closure, of a book finally shut on a chapter that ran too long. Tyler breaks it first. I need a beer, Dad? He asked. Get me one too, I replied, and he doesn't even blink at the reversal of our usual roles. Sophie curls into my side on the couch, exhausted from the confrontation. I thought I'd feel worse, she admitted, seeing her like that. But I just felt nothing. That's okay, I told her. Feeling nothing for someone who gave you nothing is healthy. Tyler returns with 3 beers, hands one to Sophie with a raised eyebrow. Don't tell Dad, he said to her while looking directly at me. We drink in companionable silence, processing the last 20 minutes, the last 4 years, the lifetime that led us here. We really don't need her, do we? Sophie asked eventually. No, Tyler answered. We've got each other. We've got Dad. That's all we ever needed. 6 months pass. Through the grapevine, small towns have long memories and longer tongues. I hear about Michelle. She's living in a studio apartment above the Chinese restaurant on Division Street, working as a receptionist at a dental office, the same job she had when we met. Full circle, except this time there's no ambitious construction worker to save her from it. Her parents maintain contact, but it's minimal, obligatory. Her mother told my mother, they still play bunco together, that she can't forgive Michelle for abandoning the grandkids. What kind of mother does that? She'd said, and my mother had no answer. Derek Murphy, meanwhile, is engaged to the yoga instructor. The announcement was in the Sunday paper, complete with engagement photos at his house. That beautiful house with a pool that cost Michelle everything. I've been promoted to senior foreman overseeing multiple sites. The money's better, the hours more predictable. Tyler graduated summa cum laude, landed a position at an engineering firm in the city, but comes home weekends. Sophie's team went to nationals. She was nominated for Player of the Year, and Karen, patient, understanding Karen, has become a constant. She doesn't try to replace anyone, doesn't push for more than I'm ready to give. She shows up consistently and without drama. She cheers at Sophie's games, celebrates Tyler's achievements, and fits into our life without trying to remake it. She's good for you, Tyler told me one Sunday dinner. Karen in the kitchen with Sophie learning to make my mother's lasagna recipe. She sees you, Dad. Not what you can provide, not what you represent, just you. One final attempt comes from Michelle, an email forwarded by Tyler to Sophie and me. Pages of apology, self-recrimination, pleading for just one more chance to make things right. She claims she's in therapy, that she understands now what she threw away, that Derek was a narcissist who manipulated her, though she takes full responsibility in the same paragraph where she blames him. Tyler and Sophie read it together over coffee while I cooked breakfast. I watched them. These adults my children have become, weighing their mother's words. What do you think? Sophie asked Tyler. I think she's scared of being alone, he answered. I think she realizes she traded a family for a fantasy, and now that the fantasy's gone, she wants the family back. But that's not how it works. Should we respond? She wondered. Tyler looks at me. I shrug. Their mother, their choice. They delete it without answering. That afternoon, there's another of Sophie's games. Karen and I sit in our usual spot, Tyler beside us despite having driven 2 hours after a long week. Sophie's team is down by 3 points in the final set. She's captaining like a general, setting up plays, encouraging teammates, never giving up. She serves an ace, then another. Sets up the middle hitter for a kill. Blocks their best player at the net. The crowd's on its feet as she serves for match point. The ball flies over the net, their libero shanks the pass, and Sophie's team erupts. In the stands, we're screaming ourselves hoarse. Tyler films on his phone, Karen jumps up and down, and I feel something I haven't felt in years. Complete. Not perfect, but complete. After the celebration, as we're heading to dinner, Sophie asks, "Did you see that serve? The second ace?" "Incredible," I told her. "You've been practicing that topspin every day after practice." "Like you taught me. The extra work when no one's watching makes the difference when everyone is," she replied. "That's when it hits me. Everything I tried to teach them about work, about showing up, about commitment, they learned it. Not from my words, but from watching me rebuild our life from rubble, from seeing me choose them every day even when it was hard, especially when it was hard." At dinner, Tyler raises his glass. "To Dad, for being both parents when one wasn't enough," he toasted. "To us," I countered. "For being a family when it mattered." We toast, and I catch Karen's eye. She's smiling, understanding she's witnessing something sacred, a family that chose itself. Later, alone in the house Michelle found so insufficient, I stand in my kitchen. The same kitchen where my marriage ended, where my children confronted their mother, where we closed the door on someone who saw us as a backup plan. I think about Michelle in her studio apartment, living with choices that can't be unmade. There's no satisfaction in her downfall, just a sort of distant pity. She had everything, a devoted husband, incredible kids, a solid life built on real foundation. She traded it all for an illusion of something better, and now she has nothing but regret and dental appointment reminders. But that's not my concern anymore. My concern is Tyler's new project at work that he's excited about. Sophie's scholarship applications. Karen's suggestion that we take a vacation, all of us, somewhere with a beach and no memories. The kitchen faucet that needs replacing. The life that continues, richer for having been tested. I don't need Michelle's apologies or explanations. I don't need closure beyond what we've already achieved. I certainly don't need someone who saw me as inadequate until someone else found her the same way. What I need, I already have. 2 kids who chose loyalty over abandonment. A partner who values presence over promises. Work that matters. A home that's sufficient because we fill it with something more valuable than marble countertops or pools. Michelle thought she was upgrading to something better. Instead, she taught us all a fundamental truth. The backup plan isn't the person you return to when your first choice fails. The backup plan is what you build when someone shows you that you were always their second choice. And what we built, Tyler, Sophie, and I, isn't a backup anything. It's everything. It's enough. It's home. I turn off the kitchen light and head to bed, ready for tomorrow. There's a site inspection at 7, Sophie has practice at 4, and Karen's coming for dinner. An ordinary day in an ordinary life that Michelle found so unbearable. But there's nothing ordinary about people who show up. Nothing ordinary about love that stays. Nothing ordinary about a family that chooses itself. Every single day. And that's not just enough. That's everything I need. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.